At 42 years old, I moved my family from one state to another. We moved from New York to Texas. I had to start over completely. I've always worked for somebody else and been an employee. And I basically flipped my life upside down, started over, and succeeded. And the success story is still being written. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I wanted to share that story with you guys to let you know that I am proof that after 40, you can literally start over in a completely new state, not knowing anybody there, and succeed and provide for your family and be successful and be happy. So this is my story. At 42 years old, it was right after COVID ended. We've decided to move from New York to Texas. So we moved from state to state. In New York, for the past 20 years or 20 something years of my income, I was always an employee. I was always working for a paycheck. I was pretty much never happy with what I was getting paid for per hour. I was frustrated a lot of times. I saw my boss after boss after boss creating a better life for themselves and achieving success and things like that. And I was basically stuck with living paycheck to paycheck, month to month, paying my bills, sometimes having to take money out of the next month to pay my bills from the previous month. And it was just tough. I could never get ahead. And I had dreams. I had dreams for my family. I had dreams for my life, for what I could give my wife and everything. So we decided to move. And once we moved, I made a decision, and I spoken about it with my wife, and she agreed with me. And I basically decided that I will never work for anybody else again, period. I've spent over 12, 13, maybe 14 years in the stone industry, meaning working with countertops mostly, marble, granite, quartz, all that kind of stuff. I did not want to start anything where I would have to put a lot of money in to start it. Since I had that background and I was able to move from a helper position when I started all the way to project management, quality control, dealing with very high-end customers, estimating jobs, all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, I learned to resurface stone, repair stone, high-end, very expensive stone, all that kind of things. So because I had that background in my experience, I didn't want to put a lot of money into getting a shop and starting a fabrication and installation shop. So I was like, okay, let me try to start a repair and restoration business on my own, no employees, nothing. Let's see how that goes. I've always been honest in my life. I've always been kind in my life, hardworking. My background is Polish. I was born in Poland. I've always been a hard worker, never took money for something I didn't do. And I've always been honest. That was my biggest thing, always working for somebody. So when I started my business, in the beginning it was very, very tough because how do you get clients? How do you go about getting those clients? Meanwhile, through past years, I've done some other things where I basically taught myself to build websites in WordPress. There are other ways to build websites these days, which are super, super easy, and you can do it on your own. You don't have to hire a company for a lot of money. But you definitely, if you're starting a business of your own, you definitely need a website. I'm talking about a service business here, since the business that I started was a service business. So when I started the service business, because I wanted to provide repair and restoration services, I started thinking who could use these kinds of services from me. So I figured, okay, maybe home builders, maybe designers, maybe fabricators that have no time to do repairs, and those are really not money makers for them because installation and fabrication is. Maybe suppliers of slab materials for countertops, because people ask them sometimes for advice, or who can, do you have anybody that knows how to repair or restore and things like that. So I started researching all these companies in the area that I work that, fit those criteria. and I started taking their phone numbers, their email addresses, their addresses, and things like that. And I started emailing them. I started calling them and introducing myself, and then I started stopping by their offices, introducing myself, leaving business cards and things like that. That took me probably 1 to 2 months, but I was doing it almost every day. So that got me in the door with probably 5 to 10% of those companies that I visited. Not everybody's going to use your service, so don't get discouraged. It's a very low percentage, but it starts with a low percentage, and then the jobs just keep coming afterwards. Because once you do work for a customer that got you maybe recommended by a company that you reached out to, you end up doing great work for them, pricing the job correctly for yourself and for them. Don't be the cheapest. If you provide quality service, don't be the cheapest person. So when you do all that, that customer, once they know that a friend of theirs needs that kind of service, or family member or anything, they will recommend you. It's a slow-moving process, but it builds and it snowballs, and then it gets to a point where you have enough work to just keep yourself busy all the time. And I'll be honest with you, once that business got going, it took me, I want to say, about 2 years, 2.5 years. But within 2.5, 3 years, I was making more money in that business than I ever made working for somebody else. And right now, I'm able to almost triple or the most money that I made as an employee by working by myself. And that's, I pay taxes, I do everything, and I still got much more money left over, and I can afford much more, a better quality of life and a better future for my family because I'm doing my own thing. But also my decision was that this can't be the only thing that I do. So because I decided that this can't be the only thing that I do, is I also started to think of what else I can do if something like COVID happens and we have lockdowns and we can't work and we can't get out of the house, whatever it might be. It might happen, it might not, but it's always better to be ready for something like that. So I decided, okay, I am very passionate about sports, and a certain sport in particular, which was basketball. Let me start a YouTube channel just doing NBA commentary, sharing my opinions on a daily basis, just a talking head on camera doing that. You wouldn't believe how fast that channel took off and how profitable it has become within 2 years of me starting it. So now I have, you could say, very good income from a business and a very good income from a YouTube channel. That's already 2 incomes that I have. Meanwhile, I created a book which I published on Amazon, selling very slowly, but it's published on Amazon, and that book is selling, 5, 10 copies a month, whatever it might be. It's making me a little bit extra money on the side as well. And there's other ways I'm trying to build business in a way where I also want to do consulting in that kind of a niche with repair and restoration to customers from other states that I'm not going to necessarily do repair and restoration, but they can consult me about, their countertops being correctly installed or getting the right service or what material is good for them, because some materials are more porous and delicate and depends on their lifestyle and all that. So now I'm starting to get very slowly customers for that, and I'm doing consulting calls in that. So I'm just trying to show you that whatever you have done in your life for the first 10, 20, 30 years, it is possible that you working as an employee, you have collected so much experience in that particular field that you can go out there, create a business out of it, and start working for yourself. But just remember to be punctual, deliver very high quality service, and price yourself right. So you don't have to work like a horse all day, dawn till dusk, and not be satisfied with what you make. I don't work dawn till dusk. I have little kids. I want to have time for my family. I want to have time to go somewhere. I want to have time for other things. So I work most days, unless I'm doing a full kitchen restoration, which, usually I work 8 hours on per day. And sometimes it takes me multiple days depending on the size of the kitchen. But a lot of these jobs that I do, let's say I do 3 smaller jobs of repairs per day. Sometimes I leave my house at 9 a.m. I'm back at home by 2, 3 p.m. Made really good money, sometimes money in 6 hours that I used to make in a freaking week. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It is possible. I did it. I was 42 when I started that journey. I'm still on it. I'm still growing. If you have questions for me in a way that I can try to help you with going about your life that way and how you could restart and what niche you could start in and things like that, we can talk about it. Post a comment down. I'll try to address it in the comment section. And if it's something that would require a longer response, I'll just make a video about it. So I would love to help as many people as I possibly can. But after watching this video, if you're interested in my advice, because I've already done it and I'm doing it and I'm just trying to grow bigger and bigger, the worst part is probably behind me. Because the worst part is when you're not making any money and you still have bills to pay. That's the tough part. Now it's gotten a little bit easier. The pressure is a little bit lower, but it's either you have the, are you driven to grow bigger, or you just want to stay at that minimum? I want to grow bigger because I want to, invest for my family. I want to provide a home for my family. I want to provide a better future for my children where they have an easier start with some money or help from their father and from their mother. I just don't want to do the bare minimum. I want to achieve success where my kids are proud of me, when they can say, oh, listen, my dad has a business. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got this, he's got that. Let them be proud to talk about their dad, their mom. And the big thing is, their mother is the best mother they could have ever dreamed about. And she's a stay-at-home mom. She doesn't have to work. We have a comfortable life. That's the dream right now for me. I don't want to be a millionaire or billionaire or whatever. If I get to 1 million or 2 or 10 million, great. But I don't want to go to 100, 150, 200. I'm not that driven because I don't want to forsake my life and my family for money. I want to have a very comfortable life, but I also want to be there for my family. That's pretty much all I wanted to share. If you're interested, subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be sharing a lot more information about how I did this, more in detail on how I tried to grow my business, what tools I used, how I grew my YouTube channels, how much I posted, how I learned what tools I used for that. I'm going to be posting about it. I'm going to talk about it. So if you're interested in getting that kind of advice, subscribe to my channel. Join me on my journey, which will also hopefully help your journey and your life. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you spending the time to watch this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.